The cold light of dawn touches the dojo floor as Mushin sharpens his sword with deliberate, unhurried strokes, each movement precise, inevitable, a ritual of intent. Outside, the city hums and blinks, screens flickering in endless loops while men lie in bed, thumbs moving, eyes glazed, waiting for the motivation that never arrives. You have done this. How many mornings have you scrolled while life passed by, numb to your own potential, lulled into a false sense of preparation? The world tells you to wait, to feel ready, to accumulate knowledge or move before action. But the samurai knew something deeper. Readiness is a myth, a trap set by hesitation, by the fear of imperfection, by the comfort of delay. Each passing moment spent waiting is a fragment of life surrendered to indecision. And yet the man who acts regardless of readiness pulls time into his hands and shapes it into mastery. You feel it, that tug of dissatisfaction, the quiet frustration echoing beneath your thoughts, the whisper that there is more you could be, more you were meant to do. The samurai moves before certainty. He does not plead for courage or mood or luck. He does not wait for the stars to align or for emotion to swell. He acts because the moment itself commands action, and in that act, identity is forged. By the end of this video, you will see why feeling ready is irrelevant, why hesitation is a luxury you cannot afford, and how to claim the decisive power that comes when thought yields to deliberate movement. The cold wind of morning, the silent floors of the dojo, the rhythm of the blade. These are not metaphors but calls to the man inside you, the part that remembers discipline, focus, and purpose. The samurai didn't wait for permission from his emotions, and neither can you. This is a threshold. This is a line between the life lived in scrolls and screens, and the life shaped by action, by principle, by the sharp edge of your own will. The moment to stop waiting is now, and it begins not with feeling but with moving, not with hope but with doing, and not with readiness but with a relentless insistence to act. The world has trained you to wait, to linger in the illusion that motivation must descend like a lightning bolt before action can begin, and in this waiting, it has stolen your life. Your attention, once sharp and decisive, has been eroded by screens that flash and scroll, by endless feeds promising meaning in small, shallow bursts, by notifications that tug at your mind like invisible chains. Every ping, every swipe, every fleeting dopamine hit reinforces a lie, that readiness is a prerequisite for greatness. But Mushin did not wait for emotion, for mood, for certainty. He acted relentlessly, because mastery is born in movement, not in permission. Modern burnout is a symptom of this waiting, of surrendering your power to the noise of the world, of letting your internal compass be overridden by external chaos. You feel it in the hollow pause before every decision, in the shame of procrastination, in the quiet self-judgment that follows wasted hours. And yet, within this discomfort lies a path forward, a relief that comes not from abandoning effort but from understanding its true nature. Discipline is not a mood. It is a choice repeated across mornings, nights, and minutes. Zen teaches presence, the alignment of mind, body, and intention, a state where readiness is irrelevant because action emerges from coherence, not fleeting emotion. Guoji, the practice without gap, reminds us that excellence is not found in rare inspiration but in the relentless accumulation of small, deliberate acts performed with consistency and integrity. Each moment you spend scrolling, waiting, hesitating is a moment disconnected from this principle, a moment that could have been a step toward mastery. The contrast is stark. The world tells you to feel motivated. Mushin tells you to act. One path leaves you hollow, restless, addicted to distraction. The other shapes your mind, your habits, your identity. You wrestle with your own contradictions, longing for change yet clinging to comfort. But the solution is not beyond you. It is within the grasp of your discipline, your focus, and your willingness to do what is uncomfortable. To break free from this loop, you must not only understand the forces that bind you, but also commit to the deliberate cultivation of presence, to the daily alignment of action with principle, to the practice that leaves no gap between thought and deed. This is the foundation of the samurai, not merely as warriors, but as men who master themselves first. The samurai did not wait for clarity, for the stars to align, for emotion to rise. They built a mind that acted before hesitation could arise, a mind forged in ritual, repetition, and relentless refinement. Kaizen, the practice of seeking 1% improvement each day, was not a concept of self-help but the very engine of mastery, the subtle accumulation of skill, strength, and resilience that turned ordinary men into legends. Each stroke of the sword, each movement in the dojo, each early morning ritual was a statement of intent. I act, I refine, I rise. Mushin, the state of no mind, allowed action without hesitation, stripping away doubt, ego, and fear, leaving only pure response, immediate and decisive. The modern man waits for motivation, hesitates for mood, fears imperfection. Yet the samurai understood that readiness is forged in movement, not mood, that decisiveness is a cultivation of habit and principle, not circumstance. Discipline was not a checkbox but an identity woven into the very fabric of being, a declaration that one is a man who acts because he is a man of principle, not because the world grants permission. Morning rituals, rising before the sun, drawing the sword, meditating, walking, and observing the stillness of the world, were acts that anchored the samurai to purpose, acts that aligned mind and body so completely that even under the fiercest pressure, decisions flowed with inevitability. Contrast this with the contemporary life of waiting, scrolling, hesitating, overanalyzing, lost in endless preparation and fleeting emotion. The modern man becomes paralyzed while the samurai moves, always, without pause. These habits were not born from inspiration but from relentless commitment, from practicing the same small acts without gap, from honoring principle above comfort, above fear, above opinion. To internalize this mindset today is to recognize that mastery is not a destination, not a reward for mood, not a product of opportunity. It is a declaration of being, a choice repeated with fidelity each morning, each task, each moment. The samurai mind is a mind unshaken by circumstance, unclouded by doubt, and unswayed by fleeting desire. It is a mind anchored in identity, sharpened through ritual, and proven in action. Knowing these principles intellectually is not enough. They must be lived, embodied, woven into the sinews of habit until hesitation becomes impossible. Only then can one move from theory to execution, from admiration to embodiment, from waiting to becoming. The samurai did not deliberate endlessly, nor did they allow comfort to dictate their deeds. They acted on principle, and in that action, the world bent to their resolve, even in chaos, even in uncertainty. And so, the modern man seeking transformation must embrace Kaizen, cultivate Mushin, anchor discipline and identity, and honor ritual as a declaration of intent, building a foundation of decisive action that becomes the armor of his life, shaping not just what he does but who he is. He wakes before dawn, yet the screen still calls him, its glow a siren dragging him into scrolling, into shallow dopamine, into wasted hours that feel like minutes but leave the soul hollow. Days bleed into nights, tasks unfinished, intentions unfulfilled, the weight of potential ignored pressing quietly against his chest. He feels the shame, the frustration, the quiet whisper that he is not the man he claims to be, and for a long time, he answers with inaction, with excuses, with a temporary relief of distraction. The first mornings are brutal, the alarm sounds, and he lies there, resisting, bargaining, waiting for motivation that refuses to come. But he rises anyway, choosing a single small action, 10 push-ups, 5 minutes of focused journaling, a walk outside with awareness of breath and posture, and in this tiny act, a crack appears in the wall of inertia. The first victory is almost imperceptible, yet it carries a weight of proof. He can act even when he does not feel ready, even when the mind trembles with doubt. Each micro-action compounds, each deliberate step a declaration to himself. I am not someone who waits. I act. The internal landscape shifts imperceptibly at first. Shame recedes, replaced by quiet pride, a sense of alignment forming like sunlight through a narrow window. Failure still comes, often and uninvited. He forgets, he hesitates, he stumbles, but each fall is absorbed into a larger rhythm, a pattern of return and correction. Slowly, the identity reshapes itself. The man who once lingered in distraction begins to see himself as one who moves, one whose word to himself carries weight, one whose habits carve the architecture of character. The external world may remain chaotic, tempting, loud, but the internal world, anchored in action, in principle, in ritual, is steady, a silent dojo of self-mastery where he trains not for applause but for alignment. Philosophical truths emerge in experience. Readiness is an illusion. Discipline is forged through consistency, and identity is not declared in thought but proven in repeated, visible choice. He begins to feel the pulse of life return, the quiet fire that distraction had smothered igniting again, and in this fire he recognizes a samurai within, a presence not defined by perfection, not dictated by circumstance, but by the insistence to act, to move forward regardless of emotion, to honor principle above convenience. The story is not heroic because it is easy. It is heroic because a man chooses action in the face of resistance, because he claims his life through the simple, unglamorous commitment to start, to continue, to align, until hesitation loses its grip and he is no longer the one waiting for life, but the one who seizes it with deliberate intent. The path of discipline is not a smooth road. It is a battlefield where the mind conspires against itself, where fear, comfort, and social expectation weave invisible chains around every choice. Fear of failure whispers endlessly, convincing you that hesitation is wisdom, that delay is safety, that comfort is survival, while the world passes by, indifferent to your excuses. Social pressure presses on the shoulders, a quiet yet insistent weight reminding you of judgment, of norms, of appearances, urging conformity over action, urging inaction under the guise of prudence. Comfort addiction seduces with soft beds, endless screens, fleeting pleasures that promise release yet deliver only emptiness, leaving the soul hollow, restless, and quiet in despair. Emotional avoidance pulls like gravity, teaching that avoidance is strength, that distraction is escape, that stillness without action is harmless, until you realize it is lethal to the life you are meant to lead. The samurai face fear not with denial but with understanding. Fear is a compass pointing to what matters most, a signal of growth and opportunity disguised as threat. To overcome resistance, one must act before hesitation can take hold, embracing ritualized microactions that bypass doubt, a single push-up, a 10-minute walk, the first line written, the blade drawn, performed immediately, decisively, without negotiation, transforming uncertainty into movement, paralysis into proof of identity. Zen meditation trains clarity under pressure, sharpening the mind to observe fear without succumbing, to witness discomfort without flinching, to remain present when the body and heart cry for retreat. These practices are not abstract, they are exercises in sovereignty over self, building a mind unshaken by circumstance, a will anchored in principle, a body aligned with purpose. Choose one task, act within 3 minutes, no discussion, no debate, no waiting, and feel the pulse of your own authority, the quiet declaration that you are no longer a servant to hesitation. Each repetition strengthens the neural pathways of action. Each choice executed under resistance reinforces identity. Each conquered fear leaves a residue of confidence that compounds with time. Struggle is not the enemy. It is a forge of the man you seek to become. Resistance will rise every day, uninvited and persistent, but the disciplined mind meets it with ritual, with immediacy, with focus, until fear loses its grip and discomfort becomes a familiar threshold to growth. Only through struggle do these lessons imprint on the soul. Only through confrontation with internal and external obstacles does action transform into identity. Only through deliberate facing of resistance does a man who acts emerge fully realized. The moment of transformation is not in knowledge, not in inspiration, not in preparation. It is in the decision to act, to commit, to declare to yourself with unshakable clarity that you will no longer wait. Begin with one small, deliberate act, a morning ritual, a movement, a task that serves as proof of your intent. It may be simple, rising with the sun, drawing the blade, writing a single line, performing a single exercise, but its power is immeasurable because it is repeated, because it is deliberate, because it becomes a foundation upon which identity is built. Commit to this act daily, without negotiation, without exception, regardless of mood, circumstance, or fleeting desire. Each repetition is a statement to yourself. I am the man who acts, whether ready or not. Let this declaration anchor you, not in hope, not in results, but in the certainty of action itself, the immutable truth that identity precedes achievement. Contrast this with the world around you. The world waits, hesitates, scrolls endlessly, complains of motivation that never comes, defers responsibility to circumstance. The samurai moves. The world waits. Which are you? Journaling, reflection, mindful observation of your own consistency. These are the tools that solidify mental alignment, turning ritual into principle, action into identity, choice into character. Write it down. Speak it to yourself in silence. Feel the weight of responsibility settle into your shoulders, a weight that is liberating because it is chosen, not imposed. Each day, the repetition compounds. The act itself becomes proof, the proof shapes belief, and belief informs action with increasing inevitability. You are no longer a man governed by indecision or readiness. You are a man who will move before thought, whose identity is inseparable from action, whose principle is enacted every morning, every task, every moment. In this internal declaration lies a quiet power, a sovereignty over self that no external force can take away, a clarity of being that withstands doubt, fear, and distraction. The samurai understood this intimately. Action is identity, movement is sovereignty, consistency is mastery. By making the commitment to act, you are no longer waiting for life to grant permission. You are claiming it, shaping it, bending it to the intent of a disciplined mind. This is a crucible in which hesitation is burned away, in which fear becomes a signal rather than a chain, in which the man who acts emerges fully realized. Stand now in the quiet certainty that you will move, that you will act, that you will honor principle above mood, above circumstance, above convenience, and know that the life forged in these repeated, deliberate acts will be stronger, sharper, and more unshakable than any fleeting moment of readiness the world has ever promised. The internal commitment, while powerful, finds its truest expression when it is brought into the world. Speak it, write it, share it, declare your chosen act to a trusted friend, a mentor, a close circle, or even to the quiet expanse of the digital space if courage allows. Let your intention leave the sanctuary of thought and enter the domain of accountability, where the eyes of the world, or even just a witness, reflect back the weight of your promise. Execute your chosen task within 3 minutes every day, without negotiation, and let these small, immediate victories accumulate into unshakable reliability. The public declaration is not for applause. It is a mirror that shows you the truth of your discipline, a crucible that tests your consistency, a lever that transforms internal will into external proof. In doing so, you accelerate your alignment. The internal identity you have forged now meets the external reality, and any hesitation or excuse is revealed and corrected through the simple, uncompromising act of execution. The world will challenge you, as it always does, with distractions, temptations, doubts, and delays, yet the declaration you have made ensures that you no longer wait, that you no longer linger in uncertainty. Each day, each act, each moment of deliberate follow-through cements the truth. You are a man who acts, whether ready or not, a man whose will is clear, whose principle is unbroken, whose identity is inseparable from action. This externalization transforms the invisible commitment into tangible evidence, reinforcing the rhythm of action, the structure of character, and the momentum of progress. It is a final test of identity, the ultimate measure of sovereignty over self, and the bridge between intention and reality. Through this practice, the man who hesitated becomes a man who moves, the one who shapes his life not by waiting for permission or feeling, but by acting with unwavering focus, principle, and discipline. The declaration is both shield and sword. It guards your integrity and cuts through the inertia that once held you captive, leaving a path clear only for action, only for growth, only for the life you have consciously chosen. Waiting is failure disguised as caution. Hesitation is surrender dressed as prudence. Indecision is a silent thief of life. The samurai knew this intimately, and their lives were a testament to action over emotion, principle over convenience, identity over circumstance. We have traced this path together. The quiet mornings of ritual, the micro-actions that break inertia, the mental frameworks that turn fear into compass, the internal declaration that anchors identity, and the public commitment that cements it in reality. Each step builds a man who no longer waits, who no longer seeks permission from mood, timing, or fleeting inspiration, but moves because movement defines him. Feel the weight of that clarity, the pride that rises from the certainty that you are capable, that you can carve a life of intention and mastery, that your choices echo beyond the shallow distractions of modern life. Urgency is not panic. It is recognition that every moment spent hesitating is a moment lost forever, and readiness is not a condition but a product of deliberate action. Today, pick one small act, perform it immediately, and declare yourself the man who acts. Do it now, without deliberation, without negotiation, and let this be the seed of identity that grows with every repetition. The world does not wait, and neither should you. Let the principles of the samurai guide you. Kaizen in constant refinement, Mushin in decisive action, ritual and alignment of body and mind, and consistency in the building of character. Internalize them, embody them, and watch as a man who once lingered in indecision becomes a force of quiet power, disciplined and sovereign. Remember Musashi's timeless truth. The path is revealed by walking. Action unveils clarity. Struggle reveals strength, and identity is proven in movement. Step forward, claim your life, and let each deliberate act be a testament to the samurai within you. The time is now, the choice is yours, and the life of a man who moved begins the moment you act.